Welcome back to the podcast, everyone. I'm your host, Tamara. Today we are discussing our February Buddy Read thriller title. If you would like to see this in video format without ad breaks, you'll need to head on over to Patreon and sign up. Along with ad-free video podcast episodes, you'll gain access to after shows and other exclusive content. If you're not into Patreon and you happen to be listening on the Spreaker podcast app, you too now have access to the after shows and other exclusive content in audio only. Join me and my two co-hosts over on the Book Club's app for even more book chats. Please subscribe and like the podcast wherever you're listening. If you'd like to reach out to me, you can find me pretty much everywhere at Shelf Addiction. Joining me today is feature co-host Classy from The Bookish Virtual Assistant. Welcome back, Classy.
Hey, hello everyone. Happy Black History Month.
Yes, Black History Month.
Woo!
Yeah. Celebrating that forever. So yes, tell everyone where they can find you online.
You can find me on except for X, most social media platforms, Instagram, Threads, Facebook, Classy Green 1 on Instagram. And the Bookish Virtual Assistant. I'm sorry, I forgot about that.
Okay, so before we dive into this month's thriller, we are going to give our shelf updates. We're going to share what we've been reading and what we're planning on reading, at least next up at the very least. And yeah, we're just going to jump into it. So Classy, let us know something that you've recently finished, what you rated it, do you recommend it, all the things.
Ooh, let's see. What I just finished was Death. Let's see. What was the name of it? Oh, gosh.
Or something you're currently reading. It could be something you're reading right now.
You made a fool of death with your beauty by Akekwe Ekemize. That was, I had DNF the book at first. And then book club decided, hey, let's read that book. And I read it this time. And I have to say, I enjoyed it the second time around, and I gave it a 4. Upcoming will be 7 Days in June by Tia Williams. And the funny thing about that is that was a book I had DNF'd as well. And book club has decided they picked that one. So like 2 back-to-back DNFs. And I must say, I believe it was, a mood reader. And at that time it was kind of like, I don't read. I don't get this. What is going on? And it was one of those books too where it was really popular, and I was like, I'm an unpopular belief. I'm not liking this book. So I will see this time around if 7 Days in June will make it. Well, I will finish it because it's book club. But will I still have that same feeling? Like I really wish I could have DNF'd it.
Only time will tell. You might not. I don't know.
Yeah. And like with the other book, I had a totally different viewpoint with life things that happened. And I understood where the author was going this time around. Where the first time I was like, she done lost her mind.
You said she lost it.
I'm like, what? Why would she do something like that? And then, some things in life happened with me, and I kind of got the main character.
Okay.
So
that's fair.
That's where I mean, like that's that mood. I think that kind of is the mood reader kind of feeling,
Yeah.
So
yeah. Okay, so all right. Unfortunately, I haven't really done much mood reading lately. I feel like I've been checking boxes to get stuff done for the podcast and for book clubs. So, you guys know I recently finished Onyx Storm, and that took forever. That podcast is up. But what I'm reading right now is for book club, and I literally have my Real World Book Club, not Shelf Addiction Book Club, but Real World Book Club. I literally have the rest of this week. We are recording on a Tuesday. Book Club is on the weekend. So I got the rest of the week to finish Kill for Me, Kill for You by Stephen Kavanaugh. And this was on my list separately.
Ooh, I've heard good things about that one.
Me too. The rating right now is like 4.17. I'm kind of excited about it. I hope it's as good as it appears. So we'll see. I just really just got into it. I got like not very far, not enough to even judge it, but I'm excited for it. People are really liking it. And it came out last year, so it's a newer book. So we'll see how it goes. And it will get done because, like I said, it's a book club book.
I know. That's the only caveat. It's like that's the good thing about like I will have to finish it because it's book club. And
Mm-hmm.
you're the moderator, right? Or like the
Yes.
organizer. It's not like you're just a member. Like when you're
Right.
a member, you can like, but when you have to
I
moderate,
know. Girl,
lead.
right. Because I have two real world book clubs, one that I moderate and then one that I just attend. And
Mm-hmm.
the one that I just attend, I'd be like, oh, I could skate by if I didn't finish this
See?
book.
Like I get to feel like the regular
Yeah.
folks.
Yes. I don't have to say anything if I don't want to.
Be like, I could just sit back and let somebody else do this.
Like I don't have to like be prepared for everything.
No.
So yeah, it's one of those. And so up next on my TBR though, I do kind of want to attempt to read this new release, and I'm saying attempt because it's like on my soft TBR, but I kind of feel like reading some more like trash for lack of a better word. I feel like I need a mood boost. And so I'm going to try Deep End by Hallie Hazelwood that came out
Mm.
earlier this month. And I had read Bride by her, but this is contemporary. And I've
Okay.
never read a sports romance before. So this is a first.
Ooh.
And they're swimmers. So it's called Deep End. They're
Okay.
swimmers or divers, one or the other.
Okay. Sports sometimes is a nice little gateway kind
Yeah.
of. Mm-hmm. I like.
Actually, it's both a competitive diver and an ace swimmer. So we gonna
Mm.
see. So I feel like that's gonna, like you said, mood reading. I feel like that might reset the mood. So we're gonna see how it goes.
Yeah. Sometimes you do. You just need to level set,
Yeah.
palate cleanse.
Mm-hmm. And if it's bad, I'll just stop. I have no problem like just
Exactly.
getting off of the ride.
Exactly. It
So
feels so
yeah.
good when you do that. Like it's no like that pressure that people feel. I have to feel.
Yeah, not on my own stuff. I can do what I want.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I have no problem quitting things that I don't have to be responsible for.
No, it's
Like,
so many
yeah.
books out there
Mm-hmm.
that you could be reading and
Yeah.
enjoying.
But it looks good. It looks cute. It could be light. I hope it's light and flirty and sexy. Hopefully. We'll see.
Yes.
If not, I can find some more trash.
Right.
I know it's out there.
I was like, there's plenty to choose from.
Yes, there's plenty available.
Yes.
All right, we're going to go ahead and jump into the main event. And as always with book chats, we talk full spoilers here. So, spoiler alert, you have been warned. Today, we are discussing the book The Best Lies, written by David Ellis. The audiobook is narrated by a full cast of talented narrators. I think 5 narrators counts as a full cast. Published on July 23rd, 2024 by G.P. Putnam Sons and Penguin Audio. The hardcover is 373 pages. The unabridged audio is 11 hours and 1 minute. Classy, would you kindly share the synopsis?
Absolutely. Leo Balanoff is a diagnosed pathological liar with unthinkable skeletons in his family's closet. He's also a crusading attorney who seeks justice at all cost. When a ruthless drug dealer is found dead and Leo's fingerprints show up on the murder weapon, no one believes a word he says. But he might be the FBI's only shot at taking down the dealer's brutal syndicate. Risk his life going undercover for the feds or head straight to prison for the murder. Leo accepts the FBI's offer, but it comes with a price, including a collision course with his ex, Andy Petrosky, a former cop and the one who got away. Forced to walk a tightrope between an ambitious FBI agent and a cruel, calculating crime boss. Leo's trapped in a corner, but he has more secrets than anyone realizes and a few more cards left to play.
Okay. So, high level, what did you think about The Best Lies when you finished?
I felt lots of twists and turns, lots of flashbacks, but it was an enjoyable story. It I won't say it was like a wild ride. It was a little slow, but it's how would I say it? Like, but once you kind of got his pace, you realize, okay, I see why the pacing is kind of done that way. But high level, it was okay story.
Okay.
I was expecting a little more, but it was okay.
That's fair. I thought, honestly, I was satisfied with the ending. I was not really, yes, there were some twists, but I saw some things early.
Mm-hmm.
And that may be as a result of reading a lot of these kind of books.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely followed the formula a little bit.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I read a mobster type book. Usually we've been like domestic thrillering it along more than anything. So
Right.
this was a little different. And I think because of the type of book it was, like what the main theme was, it was slow because it required such a long setup, and almost too long of a setup.
Yeah.
So high level, yeah, long setup. Was the payoff worth it at the end? High level, sure. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was satisfied.
Yeah. Yeah. Very true. And it was a long game. And it was like two intertwining stories between these two love interests, like, because both of them were, what was that, like three who all had these, who basically kind of, well, Leo,
He was the main driver. We knew the most about him.
right? But then you had Andy, and you had a former cop and an FBI agent who basically got turned by the mobsters, and their story was intertwined with
Right.
Leo's story. But
Yeah.
like that one part, I think like Andy's story, we didn't realize intertwined until like midway, maybe maybe 30%, 40% into the story, where we realized, wait a minute, Andy works for Nico, the crime boss, who is the head of whatever. They never really called
whatever
it
syndicate it is.
Right. They never really gave it a name.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like when that kind of hit, it was like, oh. And I think it got a little convoluted. At first, it was just like, why is all these stories? Why are we learning about this part of Andy? And I kind of got it, because it was like, she's more than just his girlfriend, because he did call her for help.
Right.
And she left because she used to be a officer. But yeah, but once we got deeper into her story and her backstory, I'm like, and then you have to go back to the title.
Well, to me, this is what was unfortunate with Andy. I feel like, yeah, we got some of her backstory, but most of the backstory we saw with her, 85% of it was linked to Leo. Like, we got very little bit about her as an individual. Everything tied back to Leo. That's why I'm like, Leo is the main driver. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
We got a little bit, we learned a little bit about her mother and her mother's marriage and her dad, her relationship with her daddy, but it was very surface. It was kind of just, hey, information.
Right. Yeah.
But most of it was all about Leo. How her interactions with Leo went over the last, 15 years or whatever.
Yes.
So there was that. And then Chris had his POV, and we learned some about Chris. But most of the information we got about Chris was really settled in present, with his recent cancer, So we didn't really dig into him, but we got just enough to know he got something going on there.
Right. That he was a cop who was a good cop, fell ill, and was basically trying to get his footing back in his unit, because he felt like he wasn't respected like he was
They're treating him like a
pre-cancer.
baby,
Yeah.
FBI agent. They're like, hey, you
Mm-hmm.
want to work perimeter? He like, what?
Yes,
He said,
exactly.
no, I don't.
No. He was like, you got these babies over here doing more than I'm doing. And yeah, so yeah, he got sick and he wanted to like gain his footing again. And by gaining and doing that, he got turned out by the syndicate. And
Well, not just that. I wanted to know, like, how I think the author could have worked in a little more about how him taking steroids could have affected his
I
personality.
know exactly. I felt the
Yeah.
same way because that definitely, and I wonder if he left that up to the reader because and I felt like he almost left that up to us because he kept mentioning when he would inject
Mm-hmm.
and then what would happen afterward. So I wonder if he kind of, like left that up to us to like, hey, because he would mention the name of the drug.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm like, that's not a cancer, and he's cancer free. He beat cancer,
He
so we
did
knew.
beat it.
So we knew it wasn't a cancer drug.
Yeah. At
Um,
first I was like, what is he injecting? And then I don't know. I don't like that it was left to us. I feel
mm,
like we could have gotten a little bit more. That character could have been a little more dynamic. Maybe he was kind of flat to me, even though he had a cancer diagnosis that he beat. He was just flat. Like his stupid jokes, like none of it hit for me with Chris's character.
no, only what got me with Chris's character, and it might have been the drug part. Like he was just really easily agitated, especially when Leo got under his skin. When Leo had him running in circles, and him trying to listen to surveillance. He's like, yes, yes. And I was like, I was like, he is losing it. And he didn't
Yeah.
even have all of the info, but he just ran with it. And it was just frantic.
Yeah.
Which that's why I was thinking, like, did the author make him like frantic like that?
He could have just been frantic from trying to maintain this lie.
That too.
Because, like, at first, and I kind of had a feeling that this wasn't a legit situation early.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, this guy bugging things he's not supposed to be bugging. Something is not right.
Yeah, something is not up to par.
Yeah, so the
To
stress
code.
alone of having to deal with what Cyrus then Nico or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
having to turn his plan upside down. He had no, and later it's explained, more about all the things he had to do to make this stuff happen
Mm-hmm.
after Cyrus was killed or whatever. In hindsight, that could have been the reason, that could have been the reason why he
Was
was
frantic.
acting erratic.
Mm-hmm. That
I don't
too.
know.
Yeah, it could have. It really could have. And
He didn't
but
even need that though. It added nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like he could have been the same exact character minus the shots and it would have made no difference.
yes, true. You're right. And I think the shots may have been and I think the shots was more physical appearance, because he was scrawny. He looked he looked ill.
He
And he
looked like
probably,
he beat cancer. That's what he looked like.
but here you have a man who's trying to get back in the field and trying to get back to where he was at. And if you
Yeah.
think about appearances is really important. I
Facts.
mean,
Yes.
yeah, and I mean, and it was even mentioned with Andy, how she was always overlooked because of her beauty, or people, I won't say overlooked, but they judged,
Underestimated.
underestimated her because how beautiful she was.
Mm-hmm.
So, those were all important things that I think David was trying to throw in there about, about appearances. And I think, and I kind of, now that I talk about this, I kind of like that he did the dual sides of it on a male perspective and a female perspective. Granted, it
Mm-hmm.
was sick, but it was still men care about their appearances as well. Because
Mm-hmm.
when you look weak,
people think you are weak.
You're perceived as weak.
And that was shown. Again, that was shown.
Yes.
You know, we had a couple scenes where like his little team members were trying to give him some stupid like rookie job that he didn't want to do.
Right.
And I could understand that, just like I could understand, you know, but Andy using that to her benefit. She's like, sure, go ahead, underestimate me, please. Please do, please.
Right. Yeah.
So I can do this easier.
Yes.
Because you're not looking at me too hard.
Right. And that shows too the strength of each character. You know, like she was a little stronger than he was. So
I no doubt about it.
Yeah.
She definitely was. And actually her character was interesting because at first, and I'll give David his props, because at first I could not tell that she was like doing double agency, like, you know, double cross. I was like, okay. What did kind of ring for me was like, I'm like, Miss, you know, follow the rules. Miss Uptight is turning and taking money now. You know, she decided to do that. I was confused. I'm like, what? I'm like, this seems out of character. Immediately I felt like that, but I'm like, well, maybe. And the author kind of gave us indicators like something was really off, like, you know, when they talked about her not being a police officer anymore. They were like, what? She's not?
Right. Everyone was surprised that she was no longer a police officer.
Yeah, so there were clues. Especially after she turned down that first money on her first little outing.
Yeah, you're not a team player.
Yeah. Like, okay, I don't want to steal money that's supposed to go into evidence, so I'm not a team player. Okay. They wanted a little tip or bonus. They pocketed. I was interested. I wonder how many cops do that for real, like on drug bust and other things. Like, who skims off the top? Is that a real thing?
Oh, I bet it is. Turn your head, especially when they're busting drug dealers. We'll turn the other way.
Just slide a couple thousand in my pocket. No one will notice.
Nope, not at all. Keep on moving.
But yeah, I mean, those kind of things about her were, you know, interesting, and I liked her. And we'll talk about the narrators later, but I did like the narrator for her. It was a nice change of pace.
Yeah, it really was. And you could just, you know, like just hearing her voice and the inflection, and, you know, just her, it was one line that she said, and I was just like, oh yeah, that's definitely Black girl. Was it like, fuck this, fuck you, or something? I was like, yes, definitely.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did enjoy him bringing in a Black woman.
Mixed, technically.
A biracial woman. And he said he couldn't describe how beautiful she was. But I was like, he better not say exotic. Because if he says exotic, I'm closing this damn book.
And he did not say exotic.
And he did not. Because I was just like, and I mean, I got it. Because, you know, I mean, it's hard, you know, like, was she Hispanic? Was she, you know, it's hard for some, you can't tell. And this is a white man writing this book. I hope he did some research, and it sounds like he did a little bit. But girl, when he said he couldn't describe her, I was like, he better not call her exotic.
That's bad. I feel like, okay, so I'm sure I know lots of biracial people, and some of them are very beautiful, and some of them are not. But I was getting is she beautiful just because she's biracial? Like, she has these deep, swimmingly gray eyes, or whatever he wanted to say. There's something. I don't know, any way to express to me how beautiful she was, other than indicating that she's biracial. Like, what about her is beautiful?
Right.
Don't indicate that she's biracial, so she's beautiful.
Amen.
So,
amen. Yeah. But yeah, those were things that stuck out to me, that she was so beautiful, I couldn't even describe her.
Yeah. I mean, even the scene, the flashback to when they were in college age, and the scene where they met.
It wasn't right. It really wasn't the scene. I think he talked more of her athletic body. I got to go back, but I'm not. I'm not gonna go back. But yeah, I mean, I think he did. Like, she stood out compared to the other women. I know she had dark hair. Did she have gray eyes?
I don't know.
See, okay.
I can't remember, to be honest.
All I know is
she was extremely beautiful.
The real Leo had red hair. And you know what I mean? Like, there's certain things that will just stick out to you.
Well, see, that
and he was the main character.
Right, but those things are important to the story for us to understand, especially later, why she was dyeing his hair. Like, we needed to know that. But I think those little details were kind of missed with Andy. Again, I say this, and I'm sticking to it. Everything about Andy pretty much revolved around Leo.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there was nothing that we didn't get enough of her as an individual, no, I don't think.
Not as a strong female character.
No.
I mean, we saw things like she was good at her job. She was good with security and different things like that. But yeah, yeah.
We knew she didn't have a good relationship with her father. He wasn't around. We knew that.
But that was weird too. He wasn't around, but she always went to him for advice.
That wasn't her father.
That wasn't their father?
No, at the end she talked about that was one of her FBI people.
Girl, I missed that.
Yeah, and she was like, yeah, he ended up being like a father-like figure to me. Right. That's how come he was asking, you didn't get none? She was talking about how they had a very...
I wish my dad would.
Right. That's not her real daddy. He was faking it. They were...
girl, I missed that one. I told that one went right over my head.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we learned that. And I don't know how this is exactly relevant to the story. Maybe just a little something for Andy, but we found out that her mother decided she liked women after she got separated from her daddy. I'm like, what is that important to the story? No. Did that add to Andy?
No.
Maybe not.
No. I didn't think so.
I don't know.
Just like, right, because Agnes was really important to her and gave her, it didn't. It really didn't.
I don't know. I get it. Again, more pages for Andy, more story for Andy, but did it really do much? I don't think so.
No. I think they tried to bring up that at first, she was kind of ostracized in her neighborhood because she had a white father and a black mother, right?
A Polish daddy. He's
right.
Polish.
And then when dad left, then she had to deal with bisexual parent, a lesbian couple.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he was trying to show the struggle of Andy. I don't know, but yeah, like you said, it did not add much to the story unless he was going to give us more of her backstory and how that played upon her being strong and having to face these type of things in her life that
I don't know
could give you strength or not. But yeah, and again, I mean, like, was he checking boxes?
Good question. I don't know. I feel like
I would say checking boxes, but just making his characters more diverse in the book. I'll take that off.
I don't hate, right? Nope. I don't dislike it.
Yep.
I think it was fine. But could it have been a little more fleshed out? Yes.
Yeah, because it was like, surprise! Mama and Agnes go together.
Yeah.
Like, oh.
Okay. Oh. Yeah.
Wait, it was a surprise. It was one moment Agnes was tossing her volleyballs in the backyard, and the next it was Mama and Agnes date. And I was like, did I miss something?
Yeah, we did miss it. I mean, well, it was the first scene was when she went to her mom's house to help her with her computer, and she opens the computer and the screensaver is her and Agnes with their faces all close together. And I'm like, oh, okay. So, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it was just information for the sake of information, but it really didn't affect the characters' actions in this book.
It did not. It did not change the
So,
trajectory of the story. Not at all.
yeah. So, I don't know. I mean, it was fine. And I do like seeing diversity. But again, I just wish it were more fleshed out, like more something.
Mm-hmm.
Like the things we just talked about, all those things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
Let's see. Who else? Who else is what's the brother's name?
Trace.
Trace. Oh my gosh, Trace.
I know.
I felt bad for him when learning about okay, so let's talk about actually Leo and Trace and what happened to them and then what happened to Trace as an adult.
I know.
I knew. So the minute we went back to 1994 or whatever it was, that first chapter from Marilyn's point of view. And to be honest, I was a little bit confused at first. So the very first part of it, Marilyn's husband dies, and then she's in the garage crying, and then she's like, "Oh my God, Trace, Leo!" I'm like, "Oh my God, you almost killed your kids! You almost killed your kids, woman!"
Right.
And then so the very next scene, Leo has been handed over to Maryland. Basically, he's in a truck. He's driving along.
Right. And see, in the confusion that you probably had that I had was they didn't die, they've been kidnapped.
That's what I thought at first.
Right.
Until they said they handed it, he called me mom or whatever. And then it took a minute. I said, well, wait, what happened? Did this woman's kids get kidnapped? Yeah. And then I'm like, that was a little unclear. It was a little messy right there.
Yeah.
But then I realized pretty quickly when she kept saying, someone's after you. I'm like, oh no, this woman stole somebody else's kids, especially when she started to dye his hair. That was the point. I was like, oh no, these kids not in trouble.
Yeah.
She kidnapped some kids. She kidnapped Leo at that point. It was just him.
Right. Well, she didn't kidnap him. She
bought him.
She bought him.
She bought him, which is essentially kidnapping.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. But yeah, because it was like all of a sudden the young boy, he's speaking another language. He was speaking Estonia. And I was like, whoa. Were they Estonian? I was.
That was confusing too. Yeah. I was like, wait, weren't they just speaking English to each other?
Right. And I was like, he kept saying Emmy. And I was like, is that grandma? And then I had to look it up and I was like, no, that means mommy. Yeah. And, and it was very confusing, like you said, until the woman with the long hair and the makeup comes up to me and says, how do you like the name Leo? And I was like,
oh, shit. Right.
Her babies are dead.
So this woman kills her children.
Accidentally.
I think she would have killed herself too. She snapped out of it in the last minute, but it was too late. Yeah. So yeah, it wasn't a murder of them. It was an accident, but she did kill them and did not say anything.
Yeah.
Hurried up and got some replacement kid and then left the area immediately.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh no, my child's gone. Let me find a replacement. Quick, stat. I mean, how do you even find a child to replace your kid with? How does that work?
Well, she was a cop.
Let me just go into my deep world and underbelly and find a seller of children.
Well, apparently it does. I mean, if we go back to, because she was so-called a cop, and then we go so many years later and you have Andy, who's a cop, who they run across these people, organized crime.
Yeah. So essentially what happened was, Leo's mom and Trace's mom, I don't remember their original names. So I'm going to call them by their new names. They were basically sex workers for Nico.
Right. Cyrus originally, but Nico.
I feel like it was Nico who was raping at least Trace's mother. Maybe not Leo's mother, but it was at least Trace's mother.
Now, Trace's mom, Bonnie, said Cyrus was his daddy.
Oh, well, maybe it's the reverse. Yeah, because she admitted it was.
She said it was.
Are you
Cyrus.
sure it was admitted? She admitted it was Cyrus and not Nico?
Yep, at the beginning of the book.
Okay, because Go back and look. Because I feel like there was something that indicated that there was someone above Cyrus. That is how Leo knew there was someone else.
Leo knew it was someone else because that came in with him becoming an informant. Because remember when they said the big Trader Joe guy or whatever, or Frank, and he said, you know, hey, Nico has a job for you. And he's like, I'm not doing a job for Nico. I'm doing a job for Cyrus. And he's like, no, any job you do for Cyrus, you're doing for Nico.
Right.
And that's when.
But we knew at the end when he explained the whole getup that he knew before then.
True.
That is how they ended up, you know, the brother Trace ended up killing Cyrus because they already knew. Like, he already knew it was someone else. And the brother decided, I'm going to get rid of Cyrus so you can just slide into that spot. And he's like, I didn't need your help. I didn't ask you to help me. I can figure this out.
Yes.
So he already knew.
No, yeah. She mentions in chapter 2, Bonnie mentions, because it's chapter 2 is Leo's chapter. And that's when he's talking to Bonnie, and she says, I still have nightmares. I'm afraid of him. Is that weird? She's holding her knees, blah, blah, blah. And this is the funny part. Trace was in the room when this happened. I flagged that part. I was like, because it didn't hit me at first, because, you know, we don't know. Yeah. And it says, you don't have, oh, wait, let me go back. Let me go back and read a line. She says, sometime, wait a minute. I'll just go back there. You don't have to tell us. Trace, sitting next to her, puts his hand over hers. I know I've been pushing you, but you don't have to bond. It's okay. She gives him a kind smile. No, it's not okay. You know why it's not okay? Because he's probably doing it to somebody else right now. She says, fuck it. She sits forward, pins back her hair with her hands. The overworked radiator picks that moment to bellow and hiss, Cyrus. She says, his name is Cyrus.
Okay.
Cyrus Ballack.
So he was sex trafficking these girls. And they were girls because I think they said she was 14 or 15 when she got pregnant.
14 at pregnant, 15 when she
had the baby. And then they turned around, and I guess not immediately, because Trace wasn't an infant when he was taken. When he was sold, he wasn't an infant. He was like, what, 5, right?
5 or 6, yeah.
So they turned around and were selling the kids. Like, what is this?
And then come to find out, Leo's mom.
Yeah. So that was...
Nico could have been his daddy.
Could have been. You don't know. We don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was pretty interesting. But because of that, you know, they got their new names. This is your new brother. Let's go on ahead. This kid had mental issues pretty immediately. And of course, she's not going to let him, you know, as the character says in the book, as Leo says, she's not going to let him go to therapy and tell secrets.
The deep, dark secrets from the beginning of your life? No.
Right. No. So instead, you're just going to become a drug addict, and you're just going to be miserable. Yeah. He barely freaking graduated high school.
No. I mean, she forced Leo to be a left-handed child.
Yeah.
Because her Leo was left-handed. I mean, and you know, and like we mentioned earlier, she dyed his hair red and curled it just so he can have curly red hair like her Leo. She had lost her marbles.
And you know, Leo as a child was a very strong kid because he only had a year on him. He only had a year on Trace or something. They're really close in age.
Yeah, 6 and 5.
And so he was being he was going against her early. They had a scene, they're in the store and he stole baseball cards or something.
Yes.
Put them in both their pockets, knowing, how do you know at 6 years old you're going to get caught? Look at the guy straight in his face and put it in the pocket.
He looked right in the camera.
Yeah. Hey, look what I'm doing. And then he lost his nerve. But, he still resisted all growing up with Marilyn. He resisted. The author shares about him learning how to play a violin with his right hand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He resisted all the way until, she died. But
right.
Unfortunately, Trace couldn't deal with it in the same way, and he became a drug addict.
Yeah. And that and that just goes to show too, that nurture nature, everything is just because you have someone who takes you in and cares for you, that does not mean, I mean, even if we think about natural, just families, I'll just say my family dynamics. You can raise 3 children in the same household, same parents, and they're going to all come
3
out.
results.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, he struggled, and he struggled really early on to the point where, Leo had to sleep with him or, comfort him a lot. And but you also wonder if that was the fact due to his mom was a drug addict too.
It could have been. Mm-hmm. It could have been a little bit of that. It could have been.
Yeah, and the other. I mean, you get snatched away from your parent as well. But that addiction, thing too. Even though she said she didn't use while she was pregnant, your body had already, honey, ingested so much.
Well, we know that some people are predisposed to addiction. Mm-hmm. I think it comes with not just drugs, but alcoholism and other things.
Yep.
Some people, like if you got that in your family, you just know not to don't start doing nothing because you just don't know. Right. You just don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was crazy. That was really unfortunate for Trace. And because of his actions and because of how Leo felt like he was the caregiver of Trace, the protector of Trace, he felt like he had to continuously protect him as they got older. Mm-hmm. And that is what he did.
Yeah, he did. And I love the scene when he was, like, if anybody asks you about your brother, I've never seen him. We have a really bad relationship. He's a piece of shit. He's like, that's enough.
Yeah, he's like, I got it. We got it.
Anything else you need me to say that I can see my brother? He's like, we could go on.
Like, glad we had this talk. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, actually, I do want to dive more into that, but I think it's a good time to take a break.
Okay.
You guys check out these commercials. By doing that, you are supporting the podcast. Don't forget to pick up a copy of the book review journal available right now on Amazon. There's a link in the show notes, and we will be right back. Okay, welcome back, you guys. So leading into the Leo and Trace dynamic, as Trace got older, he had his first real problem when they were in college. Or when Leo was in college. Trace did not go to college. Yeah. But he, at that point, had already met Andy. They're dating. And Trace gets into a fight. And he's in this bar fighting. He ends up hitting a cop. And of course, his blood is there. Like, they have evidence of him. But what happens? He's using Leo's ID. And Leo decides, I'm so smart. And he was. I swear, like, he had that, like, Leo had that. Okay, so I explained this. I was trying to explain this book to my hairdresser today. And I explained it like how, how in The Good Doctor, Sean is like seeing all these calculations and he's seeing things come off the books and he's seeing all the aspects, all the different ways. I feel like Leo was kind of that type of character. Like he could see all the outcomes. He knew
way ahead of time.
Like if I turn left, then this might happen. Turn right, then that might happen. He knew.
He liked to count things. He said he
calculations were his thing. So he was calculating risk and reward, basically. Mm-hmm. And he knew what information to get. Like when he went into court, when he was in freaking college, he knew exactly what to say. And the defense attorney that was listening said, "You just played that judge.
Mm-hmm.
You played him." He's like, "I don't know what you mean." "You do,
Excuse
because
me?
I saw you do it."
Me? Little old me?
And he's like, "Whatever he said I did, I must have did it." And the judge is like, "Excuse me, what do you mean?" "You must have did it." He's like, "Well, I didn't see, but he said it." He's like, "Wait, you don't know you punched a police officer?" "No, I." He's so
But I
innocent.
believe an officer, because why would an officer
Yeah,
lie?
my mom is a police officer. I want to be a police officer. I would never go against him.
Like,
The shenanigans. I was
yeah,
laughing at
yeah.
that scene. I'm like, he played that judge so hard.
And it was probably with a straight face.
Yeah, it was a complete straight face.
Yeah.
He was totally
No
serious.
affect.
No, at
Yeah.
all. And after that, I'm like, oh, okay. So that was a really good clue.
Mm-hmm.
Very good clue.
Yeah, that was a great opening to what kind of character we are about to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it ended up again, and I kind of knew. So, like, I didn't have it exactly, but when it turned up that Cyrus was dead and they had his prints and they had his blood or something, I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
It was right there. It was on the page. It was right there.
He's like, I didn't kill him. And I'm like, yeah.
So he also has this hero complex, a severe hero complex.
Mm-hmm.
So at one point early in his career, Leo is working on a case, you know how they go like the Innocence Project kind of, you know, they were trying to work on this guy's case. He knew he was innocent. He was in jail for 7 years, this black man. He was young still. He was in his 20s. He'd been in jail for 7 years. And then Leo's like, he figures out, he knows who, you know, the guy told him what happened. He knew what he needed to do. He impersonates an FBI agent, and he talks this guy into confessing his role in all of this, like, because he felt bad. You know, he said, if you present it this way, you might not get so much time.
Right.
The guy does it. The kid gets free. He continues on with a great life. But after he did that, he lost his law license for a while. He couldn't practice for a while. And that was the thing that broke up he and Andy. She could not believe he did that.
Yeah, because they were engaged. And
they
she's
were
like,
engaged.
You just, you didn't even consider me. We're together, our future.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So he does that. But at the same time, Andy, you saw him go to court acting like, you saw him cover for his brother before. You saw him be the hero before. You know
what he's capable of.
What he's capable of. And you were completely stunned that he did that.
And maybe she was, because maybe she thought for the
that
love
was
of
a one-off.
And for the love of family.
Yeah.
Like we'll do, people do a lot of things for family.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess he does a lot of things for anyone that needs the help. Like the last scene of the book. I'm like, this fool think he is a damn superhero in a suit. He's like,
take the S off.
Look, I will never lie to Andy again. He's like, I won't do anything stupid. She thinks I will, but maybe, I mean, if this happened, I just tell her. I just explain to her. But if she didn't agree, well, then I just wouldn't tell her. But I would tell her. I would not lie. I'm like, this fool.
He can't even get it straight.
He can't help himself. He thinks he is a hero.
Mm-hmm.
And he will continue to break the law and skirt the law.
Gonna die on that cross.
Yes. Yep.
He's gonna die on that cross.
That's funny. After he did the cutest little thing to try to get her back.
They couldn't resist.
No, 59 days. How many days do they make it before she dumps him again?
Right. Can't resist.
Do they make it to 180 days? I don't know.
Right. I don't.
365 days? I don't know.
I doubt it.
I don't know.
They're better off friends. Because he's going to do it again.
Well, they were apart for 6 years and they claim they still loved each other.
You can love each other and still be friends.
Yeah, you can. They can be friends with benefits. It's fine if that's what it is.
That may be the best out, best
Mm-hmm.
option.
Because she's like, this would never work. She's saying that as she goes down to open the door. I'm like, of course we had to have a little romantic like scene.
Fade to black.
I was kind of rolling my eyes there. I'm like, are we gonna get a kiss or what? What's gonna happen? But it did fade to black. I was fine with it.
Right. I was like, okay, Mr. Ellis, what you doing here?
What's going on?
Trying to throw in a little romantical scene in here.
He tried. But
he did right. He did well. He was like, I gotta stick here. Right. This is not romantic suspense or romantic thriller. It's just a thriller.
Yeah. Fade out.
Quick.
Oh, wide angle, fast.
Exit stage left.
Yeah, yes. Exactly. But you know what, though? They had, after he lied about being an FBI agent, they had pretty much labeled him a pathological liar.
But he said that he really wasn't.
No.
That was a tactic.
He's just good at lying.
Yeah, and that was a tactic his lawyers used to try and help him.
Because of the firm he was at. The firm said, you're not going to embarrass us like this. We're going to...
Yeah.
You lowly lawyer, you're not going to come in here and wreck our lives. So you're a pathological liar. We're going to get someone to say so.
And I mean, he was a liar.
He was a liar.
That was a fact. I mean, he was groomed to be a liar.
His whole life, he was lying.
Right. Soon as Maryland changed his name to Leo, he was groomed to be a liar. And at that age, I mean, how good do you get? Like, can you imagine how well of a liar you become?
No, I can't. I'm sure very good.
I can't either. But from such a young age and tracking and making sure and how much she's probably embedded that in them, probably just comes off so natural to them that lying. Who's lying?
You know, so from 5 and 6, I kind of have, and I feel like we've talked about with other books about the age of children and what they remember at what age. So yeah, I think for them, you know, being that young, it was obviously a very traumatizing experience to be yanked away and given to a stranger. So that would be something you would remember. But it seems like the harshness of that reality never really faded. You know what I mean? Like, it never faded for them. They knew and acted out accordingly the entire time they were with her.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I mean,
she did all the mom things. She made them breakfast and went to their events and they had to call her mom, but...
Yeah, but she could not erase their past.
Yeah. Like, how do you fake that for your whole freaking life, basically? And then
she tried to get that fearmonger in there with those pictures.
Well, even after, you know, Leo said, what was he, 15 or something, when she admitted what the hell happened? And he didn't do anything. He just carried on because that was the life they had.
Yeah. They had gotten used to it, and it's like, where else are we going to go? That's how I thought. That's how I felt. Like they were just like, we're in there now. I don't know. What do we have? Like, nothing. How do I find? Right. Are we going to find my mother? Or you get used to it. Yeah.
Now, one thing I did kind of miss, and I did not go back digging. So if you remember this, please tell me. There was a scene where we kind of dig back with Andy again to that night that they met. Now, at the beginning when they met, we got that story. And then Andy asked him a question, and then it switches scenes. And I'm like, what did she ask him? Remember? He asked her, oh, would you ever date a weird, you know, kind of like dorky guy? And then she says, oh, I have a question for you. And then it cuts away. And I made a note of it. I'm like, what did she ask him? And then later, much later, toward the end, we have that scene again, but kind of like, I guess, her perspective. So when he asked that same question, would you ever date da-da-da-da-da? She asked him, is Leo your real name?
Dang it. I know which one you're talking about too.
So I'm like, well, she later said she knew his mother.
Mm.
And I'm like, but who is, I think there was something missing for me there. Like, yeah, you knew his mother, and what, you just accidentally found him or on purpose found him? Like, how did that work? Like, that little bit was missing for me that I feel like I didn't
That I
get.
glossed out, right, because it was not like emphasized in the story. It was kind of, but yeah, I know what you're talking about, but I can't remember either.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because she says, I knew your mother. And that is how they became like so tight, and they agreed to take down Cyrus. Remember, they agreed, I'm gonna go to we're both gonna go in law enforcement. We're gonna do this. We're gonna take him down. And that's why she was so angry, when he broke the promise that got him disbarred, basically.
Right. Fucked up the plan.
He fucked up the plan. So, but I would love to know how that originated. How did you know his mother?
Besides her being right, like what happened with you and Agnes that revealed, because wasn't Agnes his mom?
I think, but I'm not sure. I don't know. That's the link I'm missing. I don't know.
I believe Agnes is his mom. And oh gosh, I have to go back and read it. But yeah, I believe Agnes is his mom, and I can't remember.
Well, why didn't we get a scene of Agnes talking about that
she had a son?
Mm-hmm. We needed it. There was one little thing missing.
Yeah.
To like really tie the bow.
Right. So instead of us just like speculating, like we think she is.
Right. But I'm like, was there something I missed that literally on the page tied it? Because everything else had a connector. Everything else did except that.
Now you're gonna make me look it up in the book. Because see, I was reading with the book, but I didn't read the whole, like I didn't do it in its entirety.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
So then she meets, so Agnes is like her mother's girlfriend. So what? She learns about Leo / I don't even know what his other name was. And then she goes off to college
or something.
Yeah, she goes to college and then talks her friends into going to this bar. But how did she find him? What, how did that happen? Like, and I'm just nosy. I want to know how we got to A to B. How did you get there? How did you know he was there?
Don't do that to me. Yeah. Look, don't have me go back and read all of
I'm not doing it. You don't do it either. But those are questions. Audience, y'all listening, if you read this book and you know the answer to that, tell us. Leave a comment on Spotify. Reach out to me. I'm not gonna Classy, don't look it up. It's gonna take too long. But you guys,
was later in the book though.
It was later in the book when she was describing that, but I still don't remember her saying the connector, like how she knew, how she found him. She said, I knew your mother. But why would his mother know where he worked? She wouldn't. Like how did she get there?
Right.
I don't know.
All right.
I'm just saying. So somebody tell me.
Or is that one of those little missing pieces that the author didn't wrap up?
Who knows? Maybe it got cut. I don't know. But those little things nitpick. I mean, it's the nitpicky thing, but they bother me.
Right?
A little bit. I'm like, wait a minute. There's something that's missing.
Oh, Best Lies audio ebook is on Script or Everand. Don't have me look that up.
Well,
I knew your mother. Let's see. Let me do a search. Knew your mother.
Classy, like, I'm going to find it anyway.
God damn it. How is your mother? That's page 49. That's not.
No, it was at the end.
Can you remember the line?
It was one of her.
Let's go mother, period. Let's just put mother in there. Page 49. No, how is your mother? Mother, that's only...
Oh, for me, it's locked for me. The ebook is locked.
Today, I knew. Let's go. I knew. Nope. God dog it.
I don't know. We're gonna move on. I don't
Yes,
know. I know.
please.
But
Okay.
yeah, if someone knows, tell us.
Okay. Yes, please.
And actually, I'm not gonna nitpick this. I was gonna say we could ask the author himself at book club, but I don't want to nitpick it.
Yeah, we can. Let's do that. But I might go research and do some of her read some of Andy's stories. But yeah, and the thing is that for us to not piece it together, it was probably just glossed. You know what I mean? Like some things, the way the author writes it, it stands out to you.
Mm-hmm.
It's glaring, and this and that wasn't.
Yeah, because like I said, every other point was tied up with a bow.
Mm-hmm.
We knew the plan from Leo from the beginning to the end.
Yeah.
We even knew Andy's role in all of this from beginning to
Oh,
end.
I'm not able to look because I only got a preview. I got to unlock it.
Okay, so mine, yeah, that's what I said. Mine was locked.
Yep. So I'd have to go in the book. Yeah. But
Yeah.
right, it wasn't so glaring that we was like, oh, now, you know, like it wasn't like some masterpiece unlocked in the story, the way the author wrote it. So,
and honestly, that would have been great to learn about her. Like, what motivated you to find this kid? Why did you do it?
Yeah.
You
so
know?
was it so right? So really, was it you were attracted to him, or were you looking for him and became?
I think it's that she was looking for him because she asked him, "Is that your real name?" So obviously she was looking for him, but
yeah.
I guess she thought he ended up being kind of cute, you know, and
quirky.
And quirky, you know. Actually, the book kind of indicates he was fine, right? Until he opens his mouth and started talking. He could get the girls till he opened his mouth.
Yeah, he even said it.
Yeah, he's like, I do okay till I start talking.
Just shut your mouth. Just smile and look. Just smile and look pretty.
Smile and nod.
The opposite of Andy. Yeah.
Yeah.
You just smile and nod. That's all we want from you. Yeah.
Guess they were a rock star looking couple together.
Oh gosh, now you're gonna make me. Okay. All right, I digress. Coming to a close. Yes.
So, all right. Any other things that kind of you want to talk about? I feel like I talked all the time.
Oh no, yeah, no. I don't think I had a few little notes, but I think we did. We basically. No, I think that's it. Yeah, we answered all my. Yeah, his fixation on prime numbers. That was, you know, like where did he get that character from? But, you know, like how did you pick such a character, such an oddity? But that's something that you won't know. That's just, you know, some things that I thought about.
I'm telling you, that was giving me the good doctor vibes. It was giving me those vibes, like.
Yeah, he had and I know it mentioned that that's how him and his mother connected, because she said math was universal and he liked to count things, and he had, you know, and it was almost like he had like a little OCD. So, yeah.
Because I don't know who is counting them things. I mean, me and math, hell no. I'm like prime numbers.
Girl,
the hell are you talking about?
By the end of this book, I was like, ooh, that's the prime number.
Yeah. Like, oh, okay. Let's see. Anything else, or should we go ahead and rate it?
I think we should rate it. I don't have anything else. We basically got to the crux.
We got the juicy parts.
Yes.
All right, I'll let you go first if you like.
Okay, I gave it a 3.
Me too. Copy that. I gave it a 3. Right. Yes. It was fine. It was good. Again, there were just a few things that could have been tweaked to push that rating up a little bit, but it's not a bad installment. I do think that we read Look Closer last year, and we really enjoyed that. I think both of us were at a 4-star for Look Closer.
Yes.
So if you're new to David Ellis, my personal recommendation is to read Look Closer.
Yeah. This, yeah.
Yeah.
This, like you said, it wasn't horrible. But there were a few things, like the things we mentioned, that could have pushed the story up to another rating.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And, we both listened to audiobook too, and I really enjoyed the narrators. I think there weren't a lot of them. I didn't recognize these narrators when I was looking at their names. Let's see. None of them have
No,
I seen before.
yeah, no one right, or yeah, they didn't sound familiar. Because there's a lot of times we'll read a book or listen to a book, and we're just like, oh, I know
Mm-hmm.
that voice.
Right.
Yeah, so.
Or seen that name a lot of times and things that
Mhm.
so unfortunately, those are all new to me narrators, which is good. They were
Mhm.
all good. So I think, if I see their names again, I won't hesitate because I know every voice I heard was nice. So
Right. It's almost, yeah.
yeah.
It's probably one of those I'll go on Audible and and click on to see what else they possibly have narrated. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it was a full cast. I think they did, did great with the accents. Granted, I don't know what an Estonian accent really sounds like, or a
Right.
Greek
Same.
accent.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it wasn't a Greek accent because I think Nico, it had a little, he was Greek, but he spoke English, but he probably had a Greek accent. But anyway,
Yeah.
I don't know. But I loved their voices. I loved what it brought to the story, the
Mm-hmm.
different accents. And I did love the full cast because you literally knew when Chris was coming in. You knew when Leo was coming in. So.
Yeah, which was so important because so many times, I don't know if it's the publisher that cheaps out, probably, but sometimes you'll have a book with a lot of different POVs and you've got one narrator. That is insane. You
Mhm.
need more than that. And and it worked really well here. It
Mhm.
helped, like even if you start feeling yourself lulled during the world building parts or the
Mhm.
story building parts, you'd hear a different voice and it would snap you back. You'd be
Right.
like,
You're like,
oh,
oh,
okay.
it's
Yeah.
Chris. Chris has entered the room.
Exactly.
Even though his chapter says Chris. But like you said, after you lull, you're just like,
Mhm.
oh, Chris is
Mhm.
talking.
Yeah, so it's really good when they use multiple narrators. It's really
Mhm.
excellent.
Yeah.
So I would recommend this in audio if you decide to give it a try. The audio was really good.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
agree. I agree.
Next, we are reading What Lies Between Us by John Mars. This will be my first time reading anything by John Mars.
I
I
think it
think
might
What
be my.
Lies... Is it yours too?
I believe so. I think I've watched his movie or his television series. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was it.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, the ratings are still really good right now. Today, this book came out in 2020, so it's been around for a while, which I like because, after it's been around for a while, you start to get the real ratings, not just the super fan ratings and the
Mhm.
ARC ratings.
Right.
You start to see how the ratings shape up, and it's like 4.03 out of 5 average on Goodreads. So that's still very good with
Mhm.
over 150,000 ratings
Yeah.
over that. So I'm feeling good. It's psychological thriller, mystery, suspense,
Mhm.
thriller, all the stuff we like, and
Yep.
let's hope for the best. I'm feeling good about it.
Yes. I mean, so far, our 2025 is it's not horrible.
No, it's been off to a good start, I think.
Yep.
Our first one was a 4-star. This one was a 3-star.
We're at a
I'm
3.5 rating right about now.
Yeah,
Mhm.
John Mars, can you bring a 5-star? Can you do it? Can we get a 5-star in the first quarter?
Let's hope.
She got fingers crossed.
Or at least another 4. I'm
At
like,
least
just can
another
we get
4.
another 4? If we get a 5, I'm good. But
Yeah. I almost don't want a 5 too early
I
because then it's
know.
like that's
Then
all we
what else
got was one 5.
or the expectation of what it has to live up to for the rest of the year.
Yes, facts. That's true. But we'll
Because
see.
book hangover is a real thing.
Yeah, it is.
Oh,
It is real.
yeah. Mhm.
All right. I guess that's it for today. What do you think, Classy?
I believe that is all.
Okay. All right, you guys, there's an after show, a small after show available for you right now. Feel free to check it out if you are on Patreon and or the Spreaker app and you are a supporter on either one of those. We appreciate you for listening to this entire episode, and we will catch you next month. Take care of yourself. Bye, guys. Did you enjoy today's episode? If so, please head over to Apple Podcast or Spotify and leave a positive 5-star review. It's a simple action that makes a big difference. You can also like this episode on your favorite podcast player or share it with your fellow bookworm friends on social media. Joining the Shelf Addiction Patreon family is another way to support us. For as little as $2 a month, you can help our team create even more amazing bookish content. If Patreon isn't your thing, consider becoming a supporter on the Spreaker app for just $5 a month and gain access to exclusive audio-only content. You can find me everywhere, including Instagram, X, and TikTok under the handle Shelf Addiction. Join our book club of the same name on the book club's website and app, where we discuss all things bookish and more in a safe space. The Shelf Addiction podcast is a part of the Nerdy Maven Network. Thanks for tuning in.